If you want easy beach access and you want to live in the Tampa, Florida area, these are the areas you should consider. I'm Sam, and thanks for coming by the channel where we make videos about what it's like to live and move to Tampa. If you are in a cold area right now, it's the middle of winter, and you are dreaming of the beach, you're thinking of living close to the beach, being able to go out and watch the sunset, go out and take a picnic, go out to the beach whenever you want. These are some of the areas that are worth looking into if you want that easy access. Of course, maybe you're a day away from the beach right now and an hour feels like close enough. But if you want to be within 20-30 minutes, a little bit less, these are the areas that are going to fit you best. So this whole Tampa area has these beaches on the west side over here. It's actually in a different county, Pinellas County, but beaches all along the Gulf Coast over here. And these are really beautiful, like white sand beaches, nice seashells, not a lot of waves, really nice to hang out at. My first recommendation is actually this Dunedin area. If you look at Dunedin Beach and Causeway that goes out here to Honeymoon Island, all of this area is very interesting and fun. It has a cool little downtown, but then as you go north and south a little bit, you still have easy access to this beach. Dunedin is actually not a very big town, but as you go into Palm Harbor, you have more options. As you go into like the north side of Clearwater, you have even more options. Next, one of my favorite areas with easy beach access is the Bel Air Bluffs area. This little tiny area, the odds of you finding a house in Bel Air are really slim, but the surrounding areas feel very similar. A lot of the surrounding area is Largo, some of it's Clearwater to the north, but this is the beach that's just south of Clearwater Beach. It's a little less congested. Not quite as much traffic down in this area because it's not servicing as much of the whole Tampa area. But Bel Air is a little town that's kind of built around a country club. It feels really kind of bougie, but the surrounding area is really cool, and even Bel Air itself is really cool and walkable, has a bunch of little shops and those kind of things. But it's actually a really small area. Okay, next, as you go further south in Pinellas County, you go into Seminole. Seminole is a pretty big geographical area, and it's actually a really high elevation area. High, I mean, for a peninsula sticking off into the Gulf of Mexico. But there are a lot of really interesting properties throughout Seminole that have really cool water features and woods behind them. This Seminole area has really easy access to all of these beaches over here, all the way down to St. Pete Beach and then up to like Madeira and Indian Rocks Beach. These are really cool, quirky little beach towns. And if you don't want to live exactly in a beach town because maybe it's too expensive, or maybe you don't want to live in a condo, or all those kind of factors, Seminole is a really cool option. And then as you go even further south and a little east in this county, you go into St. Petersburg, the big city of St. Petersburg, one of the biggest cities in Florida. St. Petersburg is very much a part of the Tampa metro area, but it is its own city over here and has really easy access to these beaches as well. Of course, you do have to drive across this peninsula. Traffic's going to be bad at certain times of the day, but it's really easy access. In St. Petersburg, housing is pretty competitive though. Even these old bungalow style houses get really expensive pretty easily. But because St. Petersburg is such a bigger area than these other areas mentioned, there are quite a few more options. Okay, then one quick scenario here at the end. Maybe you need to be close to Tampa, but you also really want to be close to the beach. What areas should you be considering? This Palm Harbor down to Clearwater area does have pretty easy access over into Tampa. A couple roads that go across here, one being Tampa Road, and then there's a couple bridges that go across the bay. Those are decent options, but maybe you need to be a little bit closer. You don't want to be driving with all that commute traffic every day. Two of these towns are towns that you will pass over on those commutes and not even realize. Number one being Safety Harbor. Safety Harbor is a pretty small area over here on the bay, on the east side of this peninsula. So this is facing Tampa, facing the Tampa Bay. Has a lot of water frontage. A lot of that is dominated by parks or by mansions. Safety Harbor also has a pretty cool little downtown, but it's also a pretty small area and pretty competitive. It also has a really good public school, which is one factor that makes it pretty competitive. But this area is really interesting. You often just pass by it and don't even realize it's here. Another area is this Oldsmar town and country area that you pass by if you're driving on Tampa Road from Palm Harbor into Tampa. This area is kind of just like Passover towns. You don't really think much about them because you're just getting from one destination to the next. Town and Country is a pretty big area, a lot of houses and population, around 80,000 people. Oldsmar is not near as big, but these areas have some pretty cool water frontage and some pretty interesting properties. They still have pretty easy access to Tampa, pretty easy access to the beaches, and they're kind of right here in the middle of all this. Because some of this area has a lot of industry, like the racetrack, the horse racetrack, and the airport, and some of these things, I would just avoid being close to too much industrial stuff, the sound, all kinds of factors. I mean, even just not as many like locals living next to you would have a different feel, and so I would kind of avoid industrial areas in general. This area does have some of those, and so you just kind of have to get on the Google Street View, kind of look around and see what it's like. Okay, and the last area I recommend, if you need to be close to Tampa, you really want to be close to the beach, Westchase, this master plan community right here on the west side of Tampa. This area has a very like master planned kind of feel. It feels very intentional. A lot of this area was built in the early 2000s, so houses may need updated. Because this was a master plan community, they haven't built any more since then, and it is pretty competitive. So a typical house in this area, like a 4-bedroom house with a pool, is really close to $600,000 right now, and pretty competitive because people do want to live in this area really badly. But it does, like I said, have pretty decent access to downtown, pretty decent access to the beach, and feels like a little suburb within the city. It's a really interesting area that you should check out. So I hope this information was useful. If you're moving down here, you want to be close to the beach, or if you really want to be close to the beach, but you've got to be close to Tampa as well. As always, if you need help finding one of these properties, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our phone number and email are right there on the screen and in the description down below. Thanks for coming by.